Welcome to a golden chapter from the heart of chess history, where the legendary Paul Morphy, often hailed as the pride of New Orleans, faces two members of French nobility, Duke Karl of Brunswick and Count Isouard, seated together across the board. Picture the glowing lanterns above the Café de la Régence, Paris, 1858. It is here, amidst the murmurs of curious onlookers, that Morphy dazzles with a masterpiece of rapid, creative calculation that would inspire generations to come. This encounter is not just a test of calculation, but a showcase of the beauty of coordinated attack and piece harmony. What makes this battle so special is how Morphy demonstrates that chess is an art of momentum, using all his pieces and not pausing for material comfort, a lesson for every admirer of daring play. The game begins with Paul Morphy playing the white pieces, advancing his king's pawn to e4. In response, Duke Karl and Count Isouard defend classically, meeting with pawn to e5. Quickly, Morphy develops his king's knight to f3, eyeing the center and black's e5 pawn. Black, perhaps cautious, supports the pawn with pawn to d6, stepping into the lines of Philidor's defense, a solid but somewhat passive choice. Without missing a beat, Morphy strikes the center with pawn to d4, seizing space and challenging the heart of Black's position. Black decides to pin their hopes on activity, bringing their dark-squared bishop out to g4, pinning the knight. It may look aggressive, but it soon becomes clear this pin only buys white time. Morphy captures in the center, pawn takes e5, immediately forcing Black to clarify intentions. Rather than recapturing at once, Black exchanges bishop for knight with bishop takes f3, eliminating one of White's best attackers but giving up the bishop pair early. Morphy recaptures with his queen, keeping his pieces lively and centralized. Only now does Black reclaim the pawn on e5, completing the exchange but ceding central initiative. Now Morphy's bishop sweeps out to c4, targeting the dangerous f7 square. Black defends with knight to f6, developing naturally, but Morphy ups the pressure by swinging his queen to b3. The threat is clear. An attack on the weak f7 point and the unprotected bishop on b7 looms in the air. Black now brings out the queen's pawn shield by playing queen to e7, reinforcing e5 and protecting the bishop, but already the defense looks awkward. Knight to c3 joins Morphy's forces, accelerating development. In response, Black attempts to gain queenside space and free the light-squared bishop by pushing pawn to c6. But here, Morphy demonstrates his understanding of initiative. He brings his light-squared bishop to g5, pinning the knight on f6, and quickly Black's position starts to feel cramped. The queen cannot move without leaving the bishop on e7 unguarded. The knight on b8 is trapped behind its own pawns. The bishops cannot find freedom. The coordination of Black's army is stifled. Already in a dangerous state of zugzwang, every move creates new problems. Desperate for counterplay, Black seeks space on the queen's side, pushing pawn to b5. But this bold thrust becomes their undoing. Morphy's knight springs forward, capturing with knight takes b5. Now if Black hopes to challenge the invader, it's too late. Black tries to defuse the threat. Pawn takes b5, but Morphy is ready. Bishop captures b5 with check. There is no good way for Black to block. The knight steps to d7 to intercept, but the defense is unraveling. With barely a pause, Morphy castles queenside, placing his king to safety while bringing the rook onto the d-file, the open battlefield. Black hurries to double rooks with rook to d8, seeking some coordination. But Morphy's next moves flow like water, doubling his own rooks along the open file with rook takes d7, trading hits for vulnerability. Black's rook recaptures with rook takes d7, but Morphy is relentless. Now his other rook invades, rook to d1, dominating the center and fixing Black's forces in place. Black's queen is forced to retreat, and in the next dazzling sequence, Morphy reveals his artistry. The rook on d1 is poised to cut down the defenses. When Black's queen steps to e6, Morphy's plan comes alive. Bishop takes d7, carving through the last resistance. Black now cannot recapture with the queen lest the back rank fall, so the knight from b8 is drafted in, blocking and capturing. At this moment, the whole of Morphy's forces bear down on Black's king. Then, with the elegance only a true artist displays, Morphy avoids unnecessary exchanges. He brings the queen to b8 check, forcing Black's last knight to interpose. When knight takes b8, the stage is set for a finale to echo through chess history. Rook to d8 delivers checkmate, the king trapped helpless on its own back rank. This sparkling victory shows the triumph of development and teamwork over slow, cautious play. Morphy used rapid mobilization, clear vision, and unwavering confidence to unleash an attack few could have defended. From the first confident steps in the center, through the creative sacrifices, and to the final breathtaking checkmate, every piece played its part. Against all the hopes of material comfort, the pawns and extra defenders Morphy's pieces sang in unity, showing that in chess, it is tempo, not just material, that lights the path to victory. A masterpiece not just of calculation, but of artistry, inspiration, and the eternal dance of offense and defense. Here, the game of kings receives one of its most treasured jewels, as Morphy's name becomes forever entwined with chess brilliance.